Yesterday we saw about hypochromic anemias. The last NEET PG and 2 years before, there was a question regarding macrocytic anemias. Okay, so this NEET PG macrocytic anemia, they had given a history of around techie who was especially on food. He had poor diet food and he had anemia symptoms and signs. So what is the most probable cause? It was either folate or B12. That was the question. We'll see how to tackle it. One thing, what are macrocytes? Macrocytes are nothing but RBCs whose size, according to standard books, more than 98 femtoliters. Few books give it as more than 100 femtoliters. Okay, so anything is okay. So macrocytes are RBCs with this size. Okay, in general, when you see a peripheral smear, how do you say they are macrocytes? You will compare with the size of a nucleus of the lymphocyte, small lymphocyte. They will appear bigger. One more characteristic feature of this macrocyte is they usually don't have central pallor. They usually don't have central pallor. Okay, and they can be oval or round. They can be oval or round. Fine. Now, when it comes to macrocytic anemias, now we already know the DDs for hypochromic anemias. Okay, so when it comes to macrocytic anemias, I'll just tell you a mnemonic. Remember it like this: A, B, C, D, and E and F. Okay, so A is for alcoholism. So in alcoholism, you see, we all know macrocytic anemias, vitamin B12 and folate, you all will answer. But you have to know the other causes of macrocytic anemias also. So A is alcoholism. Okay, for B, we have B12 and folate deficiency. Okay, and then C, it is compensatory reticulocytosis, which is seen in any hemolytic anemia. Why in reticulocytosis the MCV is high? Because reticulocytes are larger than the RBCs, isn't it? So whenever there is hemolytic anemia, there is increased number of reticulocytes. So in general, the Coulter will give you a raised MCV value. Okay. Then what is D? For D, you can remember it as drugs. Okay, D, you can remember it as drugs. When it comes to drugs, you can have drugs whose mechanism of action is antifolate, including methotrexate, pyrimethamine, okay, trimethoprim. Fine. Along with this, you have drugs which inhibit DNA synthesis, which includes hydroxyurea. Most important I'm mentioning, most of the anti-cancer drugs will cause, but most important I'm mentioning, purine antagonist 6-mercaptopurine and pyrimidine antagonist are, okay, cytosine arabinoside. Fine. So these are the drugs which commonly causes macrocytic anemia. Along with this drug, you have to remember nitrous oxide during anesthesia. Okay, fine. After that, E, endocrine cause, hypothyroidism. Fine. Then F is in fetus, we have macrocytes. It is normal for a fetus to have macrocytes. Fine. Okay, so in this, first we will initially get into vitamin B12 deficiency. What are the causes? Okay, so before getting into that, see, macrocytic anemias, I told you the list, isn't it? So this macrocytic anemias can be megaloblastic or normoblastic. This normoblastic and megaloblastic is based on the presence of megaloblasts or normoblasts. These are erythrocyte precursors. If the erythrocyte precursors are also larger than megaloblastic, then they are called megaloblastic macrocytic anemias. If they are normocytic and only we are seeing macrocytes on the peripheral smear, it is normoblastic macrocytic anemias. What are these megaloblasts? Megaloblasts are nothing but, see, usually macrocytic anemias, here megaloblastic anemias, we are speaking about vitamin B12 and folate. Okay, in this vitamin B12 and folate deficiency, there is an asynchrony between the nuclear and the cytoplasmic maturation. That means there is a lag in nuclear maturation. They should have gone hand in hand, but there is a lag in nuclear maturation. So what will happen to the nucleus? The nucleus will still be larger with open chromatin. The nucleus will be still larger with open chromatin, but hemoglobinization would have already occurred in the cytoplasm. Okay, and these cells still remain large with open chromatin nucleus, and hemoglobinization would have occurred. This is megaloblast. So if these are found in the bone marrow, they are called megaloblastic anemias. Usually when these megaloblasts are found in the myeloid series, we see giant band forms. Okay, band forms which are larger than the regular band forms. Band forms are nothing but neutrophil precursors, isn't it? So those cells are also giant. Okay, so these 2 points you have to remember. Okay, so in general, macrocytic can be classified into megaloblastic and normoblastic. The megaloblastic causes are chiefly vitamin B12 and folate deficiency, and drugs which affect the vitamin B12 and folate deficiency. So coming to the causes of vitamin B12 deficiency, nutritional. Nutritional, see, basic source of vitamin B12 is animal source of food, okay, animal food. So especially this is seen in strict vegans. This is seen in strict vegans, okay. Then one more thing you have to know, how much of a food you take or how much of a supplement you give, only 1 to 2 micrograms of microgram of vitamin B12 is absorbed from the body. How much ever you supplement, only this amount can be absorbed orally. I'm speaking about oral, okay. So how much ever you supplement or how much ever food you take, however rich it is, this is the amount which is going to get absorbed. So we'll see vitamin B12 deficiency in strict vegetarians. Then when it comes to gastric causes, we have to rule out atrophic gastritis and pernicious anemia. Fine. Then next, coming down, we have to see congenital lack of abnormality in intrinsic factor. This is a congenital defect. Okay, so this I will tell you in detail because it's a very potential question. I'll tell you in the next slide. Okay, and then when the patient is having total or partial gastrectomy. Fine. What are the intestinal causes? Intestinal causes, nothing much you have to remember. I want you to remember chronic tropical sprue, and I want you to remember ileal resection. Okay, the rest is okay. You can just leave the rest. I want you to remember strict vegans and then gastric causes. Then you have to remember tropical sprue and ileal resection. Okay, because vitamin B12 is basically absorbed in the ileum. Fine. So folate deficiency, when it comes to causes of folate deficiency, okay, see this one, first and most important cause is pregnancy. You have to think of pregnancy. Okay, pregnancy is the most common cause because there the folate requirement is very high. The next point I want you to remember is gluten-induced enteropathy. See, in gluten-induced enteropathy, what you can either get folate deficiency or iron deficiency anemia. B12 is not, I mean, you don't get B12 deficiency in gluten-induced enteropathy. So if it is a macrocytic anemia and they give history of gluten-induced enteropathy, then you have to think of folate deficiency. Okay. Apart from this, I want you to remember pregnancy. Yes, that you know. Hemolytic anemias. This is a potential question. In hemolytic anemias, folate deficiency will predominate. Okay. Fine. And next, of course, anticonvulsants and barbiturates. The cause is not known. How the mechanism, what is the mechanism it causes folate deficiency? We don't know. But they again cause folate deficiency. What you have to remember here, pregnancy, hemolytic anemias, gluten-induced enteropathy. Okay. So what are the functions? Before that, see, B12, what are the forms of B12 which we can get? We can get methylcobalamin. Okay. We can get adenosylcobalamin. Okay. Hydroxycobalamin and cyanocobalamin. Methyl and adenosyl are regularly found, okay, naturally found. Hydroxycobalamin and cyanocobalamin are we give commercially produced and we use it for treatment. Especially we use hydroxycobalamin. Fine. See, vitamin B12 is absorbed once it is taken in the food. It is broken down from its protein complexes, and then what happens to this vitamin B12 is it has to be carried in the saliva. It will get attached to transcobalamin. Okay, transcobalamin. Then later it enters transcobalamin 1. It enters the stomach, and then in the stomach what happens? In the presence of the stomach and the duodenum, in the first part of duodenum, pancreatic proteinase, it is split, okay? And then it combines in the stomach, the free vitamin B12 also combines with intrinsic factor which is produced by the parietal cells. That is why intrinsic factor plays an important role in pernicious anemia. What is pernicious anemia? It is an autoimmune disorder where antibodies are found against components, two components, potassium, hydrogen, ATPase pump, okay, and intrinsic factor. The antibodies against intrinsic factor are very specific for pernicious anemia, but they are usually found only in 50% of the patients. But 70% of the patients show antibodies against potassium hydrogen pump, but they are less specific. Okay, they are less specific. So if we see antibodies against intrinsic factor, it is very specific for pernicious anemia. So vitamin B12 will combine with intrinsic factor, then it moves down. Okay, it moves down, it is absorbed in the proximal duodenum. Okay, and then inside the cell it is transferred into the portal circulation. In the circulation it is bound to transcobalamin 2. Transcobalamin 2. Okay, see that I told you one congenital defect, isn't it? That congenital defect, whatever I was speaking about, is a defect in the receptors for vitamin B12 intrinsic factor complex, which is called cubum. Cubum. Okay, when there is a defect, though there is vitamin B12 which is bound to intrinsic factor, the body will not be able to absorb. This is seen in infants. So they will have congenital megaloblastic anemia, along with that proteinuria. Along with that they will have proteinuria. Fine, that is one cause of congenital vitamin B12 deficiency. I'm just mentioning the questions which are asked, okay, because this is a wide topic. And this, of course, you all know in your biochemistry. Why I have put up this here especially is, see, adenosyl B12 is an important coenzyme for conversion of methylmalonyl CoA to succinyl CoA. Fine. And in this presence, methyl tetrahydrofolate acts as a methyl donor to homocysteine. Okay, acts as a methyl donor to homocysteine in the presence of methylcobalamin to form methionine. So whenever there is deficient methylcobalamin, what will happen to the homocysteine levels? It will raise. Okay, whenever there is deficient tetrahydrofolate, also homocysteine level raise. That much you have to know. So increased homocysteine levels are seen in deficient B12 and folic acid. Okay, but increased methylmalonyl CoA is seen only in deficient B12. Coming to clinical features of folate and vitamin B12 deficiency, what all the patient can have, you all know macrocytic anemias will be there, all that is okay. Anemia means glossitis, beefy tongue will be there, cheilitis will be there, all that is okay. What is special for vitamin B12 deficiency? For vitamin B12 deficiency, the patient, each sentence is a question, they will have progressive neuropathy. They will have progressive neuropathy. Fine, first thing. They will have peripheral neuropathy. It's a progressive type. They will have peripheral neuropathy. Okay. This will be symmetrical, more common in the lower limbs than the upper limbs. Okay. First, initially it will start with the lower limbs, especially the sensory loss of the second toe. Okay, so it will be symmetrical, peripheral neuropathy, lower limbs more common than upper limbs. All these are questions. Okay, and in the sensory pathway, which pathways are affected? Dorsal and lateral. So dorsolateral pathways are affected. Why these pathways are affected? Because I told you in vitamin B12 deficiency, what happens is, this methylcobalamin is not there, isn't it? So homocysteine levels are increased. This increased homocysteine will interfere. okay, will interfere with myelin formation. Okay, sorry. Methylmalonyl-CoA also will interfere with myelin formation. Fine. Apart from this, one more point you have to remember is, apart from that neurological symptoms, the patient can show psychiatric symptoms, delirium. In case of children, motor milestones can be delayed. Okay, in case of children, impaired motor functions, milestones can be delayed. Okay, so all these neurological symptoms, when we give treatment with vitamin B12, the peripheral neuropathy is treatable. The peripheral neuropathy is treatable. Okay, but the spinal cord defects, especially the dorsal and the lateral columns, when they are affected, that is not treatable. Okay, that is not treatable. But in case of folate deficiency, you will see neural tube defects. You will see neural tube defects. Okay, that is why empirically we give 5 milligram of folate tablets to all the pregnant ladies. Okay, we give 5 milligram folate tablet to all the pregnant ladies. This much for today. I will tell you the details about treatment of vitamin B12 deficiency and folate deficiency in the next class. Thank you.
Best training, peaceful environment, PG medical entrance exam preparation were my expectations. I got them at Speed Medical Village in Kanchipuram. Today, I am a PG topper.
Speed Medical Village, a unique eco-friendly campus dedicated for PG preparation. Speed Medical Institute, a complete solution for medical education.